Would you mind when we on after a while checking the volume? I think the volume was good. I was checking it. All right. Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yashabrakathum. To all the Akim and Yahweh Shema Alatan by Shem Yahshua to all the Akwathian. This is the Baltimore Sabbath Service. This is April 6th, 2024. And let me just give you a background. We're going through the book of Chronicles, First Chronicles, and what makes now pretty much all the scriptures today are going to be genealogies. Now, can anybody tell me why the Most High takes the time to go through genealogies? Because you have people today that, will say that, well, the genealogies aren't that important, especially probably the Christian church will say that. Anybody know why? Go ahead, Amma Shalom.
It's just a basic bracket to make sure the bloodline is correct.
Right.
Like when Ezra came back from Babylon, they made sure the bloodline was straight so that no one who was not of the bloodline could get back into it.
Absolutely, that was perfect. Give her a hand. That was perfect. So the genealogies are important because it distinguishes bloodlines. It actually distinguishes what tribes people are in. Because you got to remember at this time, you had to be of a certain. You not only had to be an Israelite, but you had to be of a certain bloodline for certain jobs or for certain positions, per se. Like you had to be of the bloodline of Aaron to be a priest. Okay, you not only had to be a Levite, you had to be of Aaron's bloodline. So that's how specific it was. Okay, and your bloodline also determined your inheritance. So if you were getting a certain inheritance, a land, your bloodline would determine that. Okay, this territory is set out for Benjamin. This territory is set out for Judah. The bloodline also distinguished us from other nations. Because, and here's the thing that I think, I said this last week, with bloodlines, it also determined, it also showed, genealogy, Salakia, also showed what tribe you were in due to the names. In a lot of families today, sometimes when they're naming a child, what will they do? They'll go back and say, well, what was his great-grandfather's name? Well, his great-grandfather's name was Levi. So we'll name him Levi. And if you notice in the line of Levi, you'll see that name pop up a lot. Okay, so certain names would repeat themselves. Daniel would repeat itself in the line of Judah. Okay, so Daniel, the book of Daniel, the prophet, that was not the first Daniel mentioned. Go ahead. That's a great question. I'm not sure if I saw one. I don't know if maybe I've seen an Abram, but I'm not sure if I've seen another Abraham. That's a good question. All right. But we can look for it in the genealogies. Last week we saw one of David's sons' name was Daniel. We also saw the name Hur. Hur was one of the people that helped out Moses. Caleb is another name that you'll see repeated. So it's important to notice these genealogies are important. It also are important because it shows the line where the Messiah came out of. The Messiah was supposed to come out of the line of Jesse, from the loins of David. So these genealogies show that. So we're going to go through some more genealogies today, maybe talk about them, and then we'll just get into it. All right, today we're going to start on 1 Chronicles 2, and we're reading 8 through 14. We're going to read it in the Hebrew, then in the English. 1 Chronicles 2, chapter 2, verse 8. Verse 8. Wabanya, Ayathan, Itazariah, Isariah. Verse 9. Wabanya, Katazarwan, Ashar, Nawalad, Lawa, Af, Yarakamala, Wa'af, Rum, Wa'af, Kalawabya, verse 10, Wayaram, Hawalayad, Af, Yandab, Mayanadab, Hawalayad, Af, Nakashwan, Nashaya, Bunya, Yahawada. Verse 11. Wana Kashwan, Hawalayad, Af, Shalama'a, Washalama'a, Halawalayad, Af, Ba'aiza. Verse 12. Waba'aiza, Hawalayad, Af, Iwabad, Wa'Iwabad, Hawalayad, Af, Yashya, Wa'Yashya, Hawalayad, Af, Bakarwa, Af, Alayab, Wa'abayanadab, Hashanya, Washama'aya, Hashalayashya. Verse 14. Na'Allah, Harabayaya, Radya, Hakam Yashya. And that's it. All right, we're going to be reading 1 Chronicles chapter 2, and we're going to be reading verses 8 through 14 in the English.
1 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 8. And the sons of Ethan, Azariah, verse 9. The sons also of Hezron that were born unto him, Jeramel, and Ram, and Chalubiah, verse 9. And Ram begot Amminadab, and Amminadab begot Nashon, prince of the children of Judah, verse 11. And Nashon begot Salma, and Salma begot Boaz, verse 12. And Boaz begot Obed, and Obed begot Jess, verse 13. And Jess begot his firstborn Eliab, and Abinadab the second, and Shema the third, verse 14. Nathanael, how you say that?
Yeah, Nathaniel.
Nathaniel the fourth, Rabiah the fifth. That's
Right.
it.
And you know, Jesse had 7 sons. We know David was the youngest son, but Jesse's sons were actually men of war. It's just that, but when Samuel came to anoint the sons of Jesse, well, one of them, he, assumed that it was probably going to be some of the firstborn, because David obviously didn't look like a man of war, but we know that he really was. And in Jesse's line, Jesse's grandfather was Boaz, and Boaz was the one that married Ruth, and Ruth was actually an Israelite. She was not a Moabitess. She just lived in Moab, because you got to remember, Joshua and them took that territory. See, a lot of the Israelites, when they came into the land of Canaan, they took a lot of the the lands. Well, it was the Most High's lands, so they reclaimed the lands that some of the Moabites were in, and certain Canaanites where they were in. So they were living in those lands, and so remember, you were usually called from the land that you came from. Okay, so Ruth was in Moab, and Ruth, married Boaz, and then they had Obed, and then Obed had Jesse, and then Jesse had David. And then coming from the line of David, Yahushua came out of. Okay, so these are important because that's how you were to identify the anointed Yahushua, because the Savior, because he was prophesied, was told to David that his son, I think it was in 2 Samuel, would build his house. Now that was talking about Solomon, but I was also talking about Yahushua, and that that his kingdom would have no end. So this line is actually showing, this lineage is actually showing the royal lineage of where Yahushua, the what we would say the forefathers of Yahushua. All right, let's go ahead and continue. We're in 2 Chronicles chapter 2. We're in 1 Chronicles chapter 2, 15 through 21. 1 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 15. Izam, Hashashya, Dawada, Hashabiah. Verse 16. Wa'akayah Yahum, Tazarai Waya, Tazar Waya, Salaki, Tazariya, Wa'aba Yag Ya Allah. Salaki, let me get those names right. Wa'aba Yag Y'all, Wabunya, Tazar Waya, Abashya, Waya Wa'ab, Wa'aisha, all, Shalasha. Verse 17. Wa abayag y'all. Yalada. Af. Imasha. Wa abya. Imasha. Yatar. Waya shamai alaya. Verse 18. Waya kalab. Bun. Katazarwan. Waya halak. With Af, Yarayai Yawaf, Wa Allah, Bunya, Yashar, Wabab, Wa Aradwan. Verse 19. With Amath, Iza Wabab, Wa Ya Quak, Lawa, Kalab, Af, Araparath, with a Lad, Lawa, Af, Kawar, verse 20. Wakawar, Hawalayad, Af, Awayar, Awaria, Salaki. Awaria, Hawalayad, Af, Batazal Allah, verse 21. Wa'achar, Ba'am, Katazarwan, Al, Bath, Makayar, Abiyah, Gala'aid, Waha, Lakwa Ka, Waha, Bun, Shashayam, Shana, Wathalad, Lawa, Af, Shagawab, and that's it. All right, now going to be reading 1 Chronicles chapter 2, 15 through 21 in the English.
1 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 15. Ozem the sixth, David the seventh, verse 16, whose sisters were Zeruiah, and Abigail, the son of Zeruiah, Abishai, and Joab, and Asahel, 3.
Now, slacking for a second. Now you notice, a lot of times in Scripture they won't like paint out. A lot of people are really connected and related. They just won't, they won't come out and say, well, this is his nephew. But if you're going through here, you'll see that some of David's mighty men were actually his nephews. Some of his top captains, Abishai and Joab. Joab was like his right-hand man. Joab was one of the carried out the order to kill Uriah the Hittite. Joab would be considered his nephew. okay, and Abishai. And Abishai, I think, was one of the, I believe he was the one that killed Abner, I believe. But these were David's mighty men, so it was all in the family. So you notice David had a fighting family. Had brothers that were warlike. David was a warrior. So was his nephews. It was pretty all up in the family. You know, you got those families just like to fight. You know, David's family wasn't excluded with that. But you see, like two of his top captains, or maybe even three, I'm not sure of the third one, were his top men in his army. So, go ahead.
Come. Verse 17. Abigail bare Amasa, and the father of Amasa was Jether, the Ishmaelite. Verse 18. Caleb, the son of Hezron, begot children of Azubah, his wife, of Jeroth. Her sons are these: Jasher and Shobab and Arden.
Now, like I said, you see that name Caleb once again. You know, Caleb it was Judah. That's like a name that you would see in the tribe of Judah. Okay, there was a Caleb also back in the time of Joshua. Think Joshua was from the tribe of Ephraim, and Caleb was from the tribe of Judah. Well, you see that name Caleb repeat itself. It's just something that you can see, so you can, a lot of times you could identify people's names or what tribe they came from. Go ahead.
Come, verse 19. And when Azubah was dead, Caleb took unto him Ephrath, which bare him Hur. And Hur begot Uri, and Uri begot Bezalel. Verse 21.
Shalom.
And after Hezron went into the daughter of Machir, the father of Gilead, whom he married when he was 80 years old, and she bare him Segub.
Come. All right, that's it.
Come.
All right, and you said he had a child at 60. You know, people biblically were having some children at some later years. 60 is, I think it was I don't know how old the, it's always saying whom he married when he was 80 years old. So even marriages were sometimes in the Bible pretty late. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Isaac married Rebekah around 40. He was like 40 years old. And I think he had Jacob and Esau at 60. So these were, geriatric types, families, man. I think, Sarah would have been considered having a geriatric pregnancy for nowadays, because I believe she bore Isaac around 90 something. So you got to think of how the strength of people back at this time. Of course, the eating habits were better. They took care of themselves. It wasn't, food goes a long way. Diets were better, lifestyle. So you just got to think, having children at 60. I mean, so it's just something to keep in mind. Let's read 1 Chronicles. Now we're going to read 1 Chronicles chapter 2, 22 through 28 in the Hebrew. 1 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 22. Washagawab Hawala Yad Af Yahayar Yahayar Wa Yahaya Lawa Asharium Washalawash Aryam Ba'arataza Hagalayad. Verse 23. Wa Yaquak Gashawar Wa Aram Af Thawath. That's like Chawath, Ya'ayar, Ma'atham, Af, Quinath, Wa'af, Banathya, Shashayam, Ayar, Kal, Allah, Bunya, Makayar, Abaya, Galiaid. Verse 24. Wa'achar, Mawath, Katazarwan, Balakalab, Bakalab, Salakia, Aparatha, Wa Ashaf, Katazarwan, Abaya, with a lad, ath, asha, achash, no, ashachwar, abiyah, thakwa, y, verse 25, waya hayawa, bunya, yaramakamala, bakawar, katazarwan, haba kawar, rum, wabawana, wa'aran, wa'atazam, akaya, verse 26, ya, with a ya, sha, akarath, layaraka ma'allah, washama, itara, haya'a, awanam, verse 27, wayahayawa, bunya, ram, bakawar, yara kama Allah, ma'aitaza, wayamyan, wa'aikwar, verse 28, wayahayawa, bunya, awanam, shamya, wayadai, wabunya, shamya, nadab, wa'abayashawar, and that's it. Shalom, Lord Christ. Shalom. All right, now we're going to be reading 1 Chronicles chapter 2, 22 through 28 in the English.
1 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 22. And Segub begot Jair, who had 23 cities in the land of Gilead. Gilead. Verse 23. And he took Geshur, and Aram with the towns of Jair, and them with Kenath, and the towns thereof, even 80 cities. All these belong to the sons of Machir, the father of Gilead.
Now, it's important, like I said, when you're going through these genealogies, you get to see the inheritance and things that belong to certain families, okay? Because that was important anciently, biblically. It was important when you had an inheritance that you would pass it down to your children, your lands, the stuff that you had, you pass it down. Now, usually, a lot of things would go to the firstborn, usually. But we notice biblically, the Most High many times did not choose the firstborn when he had a job or when he had a mission for somebody in that family. A lot of times it didn't fall on the firstborn. Jacob and Esau is an example. Ishmael, Isaac, David was the seventh. So a lot of times the Most High had a mission for somebody. He chose who he wanted to carry it out, and they would continue that inheritance. All right, go ahead. Salakia.
Come. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 24.
1 Chronicles.
Salaki, the water. 1 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 24. And after that Hezron was dead, and Caleb Ephrath?
Ephrata, that's right.
Caleb Ephrata. Then Abiah, Hezron's wife, bare him Ashur, the father of Tekoa. Verse 25.
1 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 25.
And the son of Jerahmeel, the firstborn of Hezron, were Ram, the firstborn, and Banah, and Oren, and Ozim, and Ayijah. Verse 26. Jerahmeel had also another wife, whose name was Atara. She was the mother of Onim. Verse 27. Salat, you said where am I stopping at?
28.
First Chronicles chapter 2, verse 27. And the son of Ram, the firstborn of Jerahmeel, were Maz, and Jamin and Eker. Verse 28. And the son of Onam were Shemaiah and Jada. And the sons of Shemaiah, Nadab and Abishur.
Excellent. And also, you want to remember too. A lot of times, the names that people were named biblically had like very, very significance, had a big significance. It's not like nowadays. I'm not saying here in the UBK, but people just name their child anything. Names were. It's a. I can't remember. It's a scripture in Proverbs. Somebody can help me. It's like it's a great name is better than. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's a scripture in Proverbs talking about reputation. God, the water, sir. But a name is important. A name is not just, you don't want to just name your child anything, okay? Because if you think even biblically, a lot of the names were kind of was showing the traits of the person, of who the person was. So just thinking about this, going through the names, these names actually had significance to them. All right. Where are we at now? We're in
29.
First Chronicles. All right, we're in First Chronicles chapter 2, verse 29 through 35. All right, we're going to read that in the Hebrew, then in the English. First Chronicles chapter 2, verse 29. Washam, Atha, Abayash, Shawar, Abayahal, Abayahal, Wathalad, Lawa, Af, Akabun, Wa'af, Mawayal, verse 30, keep losing my verse 30, Wabunya, Nadab, Salad, Wa'apayum, Wayamath, Salad, Bunyam, verse 31, Wabunya, Apayum, Yeshaya, Wabunya, Yeshaya, Shashan, Wabunya, Shashan, Akalia, verse 32. Wabunya, Yadai, Akia, Shumya, Yathar, Waya Wanathan, Waya Math, Yathar, La'a, Bunyam, verse 33. Wabunya, Yawa Nathan, Palath, was Za'a, Allah, Hayawa, Bunya, Yarakum Allah, verse 34. Wala'a, Haya, La Shashan, Bunyam, Kaya, Banawath, Wala Shashan, Ibad, Matazaria, Washamwa, Yakar, Yarakai, verse 35. Wayathan, Shashan, Af, Bathya, Laya Rakai, Abadwa, La Asha, with a lad, Lawa, Af, Aithya. And that's it. All right, now I'm going to be reading First Chronicles chapter 2, 29 through 35.
First Chronicles chapter 2, verse 29. And the name of the wife of Abshir was Abihail, and she bare him Aban and Molid, verse 30. And the son of Nadab, Seled, and Apim. But Salad died without children. Verse 31. And the sons of Epipim, Aishi.
Oh, Salaki, let me stop there. Can somebody tell me, I'm sure everybody knows this, but if somebody was married biblically, all right, they were married biblically and let's say they had no children, how was that line to continue? Somebody knows that. I know somebody in here knows that. Go ahead, knock this out. Well, how was the line? Oh, so if a husband and wife were married, okay, and let's say the husband died and had no children, how was that husband's line supposed to continue? Matazba.
His brother was supposed to take his wife.
That's right.
The child that came from him actually was attributed to his wife.
Yep, absolutely. So the brother would step in and be the next in line so that his line could continue. Okay? So that's, so if somebody didn't bear children and the husband died or somebody died, they would go, the wife was supposed to continue like, now, I can't remember, it's blurred, but if the wife did not, it was something about, I got to find the precept, if the wife refused, I think it's in Deuteronomy, if she refused, she was shamed somehow, but I cannot actually remember, I'll find the precept, but the line of that person was supposed to be continued. All right, Slack it, go ahead.
First Chronicles chapter 2, verse 31. And the son of Epipim, Ishiah, and the son of Ishiah, Shishan, and the children of Shishan, Aliyah. Verse 32. And the son of Jada, the brother of Shemaiah, Jether, and Jonathan. And Jether died without children. Verse 33. And the son of Jonathan, Peleth, and Zaza. These were the sons of Jeremiah. Verse 34. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Slide. Verse 34. Now Sheshan had no sons, but daughters. And Sheshan had a servant, an Egyptian, whose name was Jarha. Verse 35. And Sheshan gave his daughter to Jarha, his servant, to wife. And she bare Atia.
Excellent. I think that's it. Excellent.
Verse 36. And
No, that's it. That's it.
Oh, come on.
Now, verse 30, verse 34, this is a question that we can probably ask one of the generals. Let's go back to verse 34. Now, there could be a couple explanations with this, but I think, this is probably one for the generals. Verse 34 says, now, Sheshan had no sons but daughters, and Sheshan had a servant, an Egyptian, whose name was Jarha. Verse 35, and Sheshan gave his daughter to Jarha, his servant, to wife, and she bare him Attai. Now, this is a good question for we could bring up to the generals. I mean, one way, is this Egyptian was an Israelite. I'm not going to say it was or not. And they were from the land, because Israel was scattered. Another is, if you look in the book of Numbers, and if a father had no sons and the line wanted to continue, the line could continue through the daughters. I think it was the daughters of Zelophehad. This is in Numbers. But I'm not really sure. Go ahead. You want to say something, Shalom?
But the daughters they continue through their own tribe. This is different.
No, I'm saying I'm saying is that the line they continue, but their line continued.
But did they have to marry someone from their own tribe for that to?
I can't remember. You could be correct. You could probably have to remember somebody if the line had to continue.
Yeah, but it's through their own tribe. I thought that was stipulation.
It could be. You could be correct on that. You could be correct on that. So you want to say something?
You said, did the wife have to marry somebody in the same tribe in Israel?
So
That's what she was
So yeah, it was I think it was the daughters of. It's in Numbers 31. I think it's in Numbers. The father had no sons, so the line had to continue. So the stipulation, she's saying, it had to be somebody in their tribe for the line to continue. So, but this is a good question for the generals, as far as maybe somebody could ask. Is it looks like the line is continuing here? So, because he was given to, he gave his daughter to a Egyptian, but I don't know if this Egyptian would be, per se, they're calling that somebody an Egyptian. I'm not sure how that would continue. The line would continue.
So like,
Go ahead.
would we have to say that this Egyptian was an Israelite, because that would be breaking the law if he wasn't?
That's why I said that's a good question. That's a good question to bring up. I don't know if they're saying that this is an Egyptian, is like saying a Serbian Egyptian, but people were called from the lands that came from Israel was scattered, so that could be an explanation. Or if somebody didn't have no children, no sons, was the line continued through the daughter? So I'm not sure. That's why I said this is a good question. People want to mark 1 Chronicles 2:34 and 35 be a good question to bring up for scripture breakdown on Thursday. That'd be a good question. If I'm there, I'll bring it up. There'd be 1 Chronicles 2:34 and 35. It's a good question to bring up. And to answer that question, Shalom, I think it's for them to have their inheritance. I'm not sure if it was for the line, but the daughters, so for them to keep their inheritance, they had to marry somebody in the. I don't know if it had to do with the line though. It had to do with, in order for the father to keep that inheritance, they had to marry other. I think they were in the tribe of. They had to marry other Benjaminites in order to hold inheritance. I don't know if it has anything to do with the bloodline though, so I'm not sure. That's a good point. All right. Let's go to 1 Chronicles 2, and it's 36 to 42. Let's read that in the Hebrew, then we can read it in the English. 1 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 36. Let me see. Wa'aithya, halayad, af, nathan, wanathan, hawalayad, af, zabad. Verse 37. Wazabad, halawayad, af, apalal, wa'apalal, hawalayad, af, iwabad. Verse 38, wa'ai-wabad, hawalayad, af, yahawa'ab, hawalayad, af, Isaiah. Verse 39, wa'izariah, halayad, af, kalatazah, halayad, af, ala-aisha. Verse 40, wa'ala-aisha, halayad, af, sasamaya, halayad, af, shalom. Verse 41, shalom, halayad, af, yakwamaya, wayakwamaya, halayad, af, alayashamai. Verse 42, wababunya, kalab, akya, yaramak, Yara Kum Allah, Wayamashai, Bakarwa, Hawa'a, Abaya, Zayat, Wabunya, Marasha, Abaya, Kabarwan. And that's it. So,
On 40, on the last verse of 40, right, you said Shalom. And that's Shalom.
you can, so according to Officer Hazahab, no, okay, well,
That's what other people say, like Shalom.
they would say that.
So when I read the African, when I read Shalom, it says Shalom. So it says Shalom.
You would pronounce it shalom. You would pronounce it the wa and the ma would be connected, so it'd be shalom. So it would be pronounced shalom, not shalom. Other groups say.
That's why they say it, right? That's why they say it.
Because the wa is in there. Okay, come with us. Yeah, just have it shalom.
So you would never read shalom, the word shalom itself, in a different word, way, you know what I'm saying?
You just shalom. So
It won't never say, no, shalom by itself.
oh, so con. I see what you're saying. The wall will be in there. I know what you're saying.
I'm trying to talk about people, I'm just trying to make sure.
Con. No, I know. I understand what you're saying. Con. All right, we're going to be reading 36 through 42 in the English.
First Chronicles chapter 2, verse 36. I said that name.
I said a tie or a tie.
And Attiah begot Nathan, and Nathan begot Zabad, verse 37. And Zabad begot Ephalah, and Ephlal begot Obed.
Now you notice Obed's name is once again coming up in the line. So it's just you want to see how these names keep reappearing, and a lot of times, like I said, you can see what tribe, more than likely what tribe. I'm not saying a name couldn't interchange to other tribes, but I'm just saying you'll notice a pattern of names even in when you're going through these genealogies. Go ahead.
Verse 38. And Obed begot Jehu, and Jehu begot Azariah.
That name keeps coming up again. Go ahead.
Come. Verse 39. And Uzziah begot Helez. And Helez begot Elisha. And Elisha begot Sizamiah. And Sizamiah begot Shalom. Verse 41. And Shalom begot Jechamiah. And Jechamiah begot Elishama. Verse 42. Now the sons of Caleb, the brother of Jerahmeel, were Mesha, his firstborn, which was the father of Ziph, and the son of Marashah, the father of Hebron.
That's it.
Okay.
Excellent. All right. Now let's go ahead and read 2 Chronicles 2, 43 through 49 in the Hebrew. 2 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 43. Wabunya, Karabwan, Kwarak, Wathapak, Warakwam, Washamai, verse 44. Washamai, Hawalayad, Af, Rakam, Abiyah, Yarakwaim, Warakwam, Hawalayad, Af, Shumya, verse 45. Wabun, Shumya, Wa'aiwan, Wama'aiwan, Abiyah, Bayath, Tazawar, verse 46. Wa'ayapa, Lagash, Kalab, Yalada, Af, Haran, Wa'af, Mawataza'ah, Wa'af, Gazaz, Wacharan, Halayad, Af, Gazaz, verse 47. Wabunya, Yahadya, Ragum, Watham, Wagayashan, Wapalat, Wa'ayapa, Washa'aip, verse 48. Palagash, Kalab, Ma'aika, Yalad, Shabar, Wa'af, Tharachana. One more slide. Verse 49. Wathalad, Sha'aip, Abiyah, Mana, Af, Shawa'a, Abiyah, Makabana, Wa'abiyah, Gaba'ayah, Wabath, Kalab, Ikasa. And that's it. All right, let's read 1 Chronicles chapter 2, 43 through 49 in the English.
First Chronicles chapter 2, verse 42.
We're in 43, it's lacking.
First Chronicles chapter 2, verse 43. And the sons of Hebron, Koran, and Tapua, and Rekem, and Shammai.
Now, Korah's name is popping up here. Does anybody know another Korah in the scriptures? Anybody know Korah? What was he known for? Does anybody remember? You remembers? I'm gonna show him. You should remember that one. Remember Korah? Yep, he was the one that rebelled against Moses. I believe Korah was a Levite, and he was actually related to Moses. You know, a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people in the Bible were really related. So he was related to Moses, and he came up to Moses and said, "You take too much of yourself," because they were already Levites, but they wanted the priesthood. And so the Most High had to show that the priesthood came through the line of Aaron. Okay? So Korah, well, you know, there's something interesting about Korah's story. Even though Korah rebelled, his sons didn't. You know, Korah's sons were, I don't know if it was all of his sons, but some of his sons didn't side with Daddy on that one. So they were smart because Korah got swallowed up along with Abiram and Dathan. But I don't believe all Korah's sons sided with Daddy on that one. All right? The water's locked. Go ahead.
First Chronicles chapter 2, verse 44.
Come.
And Shammai begot Rahim, the father of Jeroboam, and Rekem begot Shemaiah. Verse 45. And the sons of Shemaiah was Maon, and Maon was the father of Beth-zur. Verse 46. And Ephah, Caleb's concubine, bare Haran, and Moza, and Gazez, and Haran begot Gazez. Verse 47. And the sons of Jadea, Regem, and Jotham, and Geshem, and Pelet, and Ephah, and Shaph. Verse 48. Ma'ikah, Ma'ikah, Caleb's concubine, bare Sheber, and Terhana. Verse 49. She bare also Sheph, the father of Madmana, Sheba, the father of Macbenah, and the father of Gibeah, and the daughter of Caleb was Aksa.
Excellent. All right, let's go ahead and read the last one for today. We're in 2 Chronicles chapter 2, 50 through 55. And chapter 50 through 55, and then we're going to read 2 Chronicles 3, 1. 1 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 50. These were the Slakia. I'm reading in English, Slakia. Slakia. Let me read it in Hebrew, Slakia. All right. So 1 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 50. Allah, Ayawah, Bunya, Kalab, Bun, Chawar, Bakawar, Aparatha, Shawabal, Abiyah, Quarayath, Ya'aryam, verse 51. Shalomah Abiyah Bayath Lacham Charak Abiyah Bayath Gadar, verse 52. Wayahayawa Bunyam Lasha Wabal Abiyah Quarayath Yayam Hara Katazaya Hama Nachawath, verse 53. Wama Shapa Kawath Koreath Yaarium Hayataria Waha Pawathya Waha Shamathya Waha Hamashar Slakia Wahamasharaya Ma'ala Yataza Awa Hataza Rai Yaraithya Wama Waha Asha Ta'alaya. Verse 54. Bunya Shalomah Bayath Lacham Wanata Wapathya Atarwath Bayath Yawa Wakatazaya Wama Nakathya Hatazaraya. Verse 55. Wama Shapakwath Saparium Yashabwa Yaibataza Tharaithium Shamaithium Shawakathium Hama Haquayanyum Ba'ayam Machamath Abiyah Bayath Rakab. This is 1 Chronicles chapter 3, verse 1. Wa Allah Hayawa Bunya Dawadad Ashar Nawalad Lawa Baka Barwan Haba Kawar Ama one La Akya Akyan Ain Haza Haya Zarai Alayath Shanya Dunya Allah La Abba Yagali Ya Abba Yagal. So like Ya Abba Yagal Haka Ramayath. And that's it. All right, now we can read it in English. Second Chronicles chapter 50, chapter 2, 50 through 55, and then First Chronicles 3, verse 1.
First Chronicles chapter 2, verse 50. These were the sons of Caleb, the sons of Hur, the firstborn of Ephrata, Shobal, the father of Kirjath, Jearam. Verse 51. Salma, the father of Bethlehem. Hareph, the father of Beth Gadar.
Okay.
Verse 52. And Shobal, the father of Kirjath Jearim, had sons. Haroah, and half of the Manahithites. Verse 53. And the families of Kirjath Jearim, the Itherite, and the Puhites, and the Shumathites, and the Misharites, of them came to the Zariaites, and the Ishtulites, Ishtuelites. Verse 54, the sons of Salma Bethlehem and the Netophathites,
That's what tights. Mm-hmm.
at Tarith, the house of Joab, and half of the Manahethites, the Zorites. Verse 55. And the families of the scribes which dwell at Jabez, the Terathites, the Shemitites, and the Suchites. These are the Kenites that came from Hamath, the father of the house of Rechab. We going into
3 verse 1. Mm-hmm.
First Chronicles chapter 3 verse 1. Now these were the sons of David, which were born unto him in Hebron, the firstborn Amnon of Anoam, the Jezreelites, the second Daniel of Abigail, the Carmelites. Stop at verse 2.
Yep, that's it. All right. We'll pick that up for next week. Reading it down. All right. Just the people up here. Imani. Need the horn? No, the horn. People getting skilled with them horns. That's excellent. All right. Sorry. Hey, let's go. Come on.
La Yashala.
Ooh, jeez. Well, it's like, go ahead and get that one.
Okay.
Go ahead and call it
Amadium, which means stand. Wakba, Wapinya Hakwadam, which means rise and face the east. We're going to be reading our Lord's Prayer first in the Hebrew, then in the English. Abanaw, Shabbat Shemayim, Wadash, Ayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malak Wafka, Taba'ah, Ratizayaka, Ayah, Aisha, Ba'aratiza, Kawa, Hayah, Bashamayim, Nathan, Lanawa, Lakam, Kol, Yawam, Wasalak Nawa, Kabawak Yanawa, Kasalak Nawa, Kabawak Yanawa, Wala'ah, Dabaya Ainawa, Banasayawam, Abal, Hawashai now.
Hashai
Mayan.
Mayan.
Ra.
Ra.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Laka.
Laka.
Kamalakwa.
Hamalakwa.
Waha'av. Come. Wahapa Araf.
Wahatapa Araf.
La'awalamyam.
La'awalamyam.
Amad.
Aman in the English. Our Father.
Our Father.
Which art in heaven.
Which art in heaven.
Hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
In earth.
In earth.
As it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day.
Give us this day.
Our daily bread.
Our daily bread.
Forgive us our debts.
Forgive us our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
Lead us not.
Lead us not
into temptation.
into temptation.
But deliver us.
But deliver us
from evil.
from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
Thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever.
Forever.
So be it.
So be it. This is Hakat.
Sar, which means to turn. Sister Ahmad, which means to be seated. Go ahead, blow the horn. Men of Israel, gird up thy loins and prepare to salute the Torah. Yahweh Bashim Yashab Rakya. Other hand.
How about Shimon Shabbat? Yeah.
Yahweh Bashim Yashab Rakya.
How about Shimon Shabbat? Yeah.
Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shabrakiyah.
Go ahead, one more time. This concludes the service.
Men of Israel, now we're going to give this teacher one courtesy salute. Saw, which means turn. Men of Israel, Amadiam Shabbat, Amadiam Barak, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahshua Barakathum.
Yahweh Bashim Yashab Barakathum.
Yayamatah, class dismissed. Salati. Sar, which means turn. Men of Israel, sister, Akwathiam, Zamadiam. Men of Israel, now we're going to give the sisters one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Amadiam Shabbat, Amadiam Barak,
Yahweh
Shema
Shema
Adatham Ba'ashim Yahshua. Yayamatah, class dismissed.